'Tis the night before the primary, and throughout the Palmetto State, the candidates are campaigning and working. They're not content to sit and wait. One of those candidates, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, took time to speak with me and with my Newsmax TV colleague John Bogman a little earlier this evening.
There are 3 or 4 polls that show that either for third place or second place, it's a jump ball. And we've got a great turnout operation, lots of people knocking on doors, a lot of people undecided. It's hard to imagine, but a lot of South Carolinians wait to the last moment. So we have one more town hall meeting tonight and going to 5 or 6 precincts all across the state tomorrow. I feel good about where we are. I'm going to work hard till the end.
And Jeb, while you're working on the ground, you're getting some support from elsewhere. Tom Ridge, former governor of Pennsylvania, has a column out today pointing out that 14 former Republican governors have just endorsed you for president. Now, my old colleague in the House, John Kasich, hasn't gotten this type of backing. And of course, Marco Rubio, a senator instead of a governor. Why do you think those governors are rallying around your candidacy at this particular time?
Well, because they know that governors, effective governors lead. They make tough decisions. They don't cut and run. They have to run to the challenge, whatever that might be. It's kind of interesting that in Florida, where we have candidates, 3 or 4 candidates from Florida. 3 of the statewide elected officials are supporting me, a majority of the congressional delegation. All of the speakers of House before Marco and those after him are all supporting me. And a majority of the legislature. It's not that they don't think Marco's a good guy, because he is. It's that they know I can lead, and leadership is what this job's all about. So I think it's really a question of leadership.
Well, let's turn from the esoterica of the U.S. Senate and talk about a media feud, Jeb. A lot of talk about Fox News. Ted Cruz has complained about what he perceives as a pro-Rubio bias, and Donald Trump said today that Fox News is basically, quote, in love with Marco. We saw Megyn Kelly the other night, and a Fox reporter from the Palmetto State promoting Marco, saying he was surging in the polls and outperforming expectations. Now, some recent trends actually show him down a bit, and it appears that you are the guy, at least if you go on what happened in New Hampshire, you outperformed what was expected. Do you believe Fox is promoting Marco, and why do you think that is, as opposed to talking to you and some of the other candidates?
I don't know. I think the Washington elites and the folks that kind of are the establishment of the media in the Republican hierarchy, they have had a different standard for Marco than other candidates. But that's okay. Look, I have higher expectations on myself than others do, so it doesn't bother me a bit. I know this is a test. In order to do well, you have to beat expectations. But this test only sharpens you for the general election, and that only sharpens you to be president. So whatever the conditions are, life's not always entirely fair. You just have to put on your big boy pants and go to battle. That's what I'm doing. The polling shows that they are concerned about national security. They're concerned about veterans issues. They're concerned about the need to rebuild our military. This is a military-friendly state, for sure. So I believe we're betting big on this, because I do have the leadership skills to be president of the United States and commander-in-chief on day one. It's why 40 admirals and generals are supporting me, 12 Medal of Honor recipients, and Lindsey Graham, who is probably the leading expert on national security in the United States Senate. So I hope that that's the case. I believe it is, and we'll find out tomorrow.
Jeb, we're hearing some undercurrents and some subplots out there, especially that tomorrow some of Ben Carson's supporters may vote strategically in the South Carolina primary. In other words, they see his momentum slowing, and when they get in to cast their ballot, they may actually choose someone else, someone who they believe has similar values to the good doctor. So, if you were speaking today, and maybe you will later tonight at the town hall, to a Ben Carson voter and those other voters, what would you tell them about shared values, especially on human life and abortion?
Well, my record is clear. I believe in the sanctity of life, but life is precious from beginning to end. And I got to act on that belief, not just talk about it. Ben Carson is a man of incredible stability. He doesn't tear people down to make himself look good. I don't either. And I think that's what we need to restore in American politics, this notion that somehow you're a strong person by tearing someone down or insulting them or playing dirty. That's not the way I do it, and Ben Carson is a good role model in that regard. So if Carson supporters are thinking about supporting somebody else, I hope they do support me. And I hope they also support Ben, because he's deserving of that support.
And with the 45 seconds we have left, Jeb, talking about the Supreme Court with the funeral for Justice Scalia tomorrow, Donald Trump, the front runner, but he once suggested that he would like to see his sister potentially on the Supreme Court. She's a sitting federal judge who has backed so-called abortion rights. Now, he hasn't said that recently, but would you trust Mr. Trump to make the replacement nomination for Justice Scalia?
No, I don't, because there's not a consistent conservative view. He's not had a chance to be in a position where he would apply conservative principles in a way to help anybody other than himself. He's a candidate. He can now talk like he's a conservative, but there's nothing in his record that suggests that he is, and that does give me concern.
Well, Jeb Bush, we appreciate the time. I know from races it can be tough. Where is your last town hall tonight, Jeb?
It's in Clemson High School.
Clemson High School. I know the
part
spot.
of the state.
A lot of good folks. I'm sitting next to a Georgia graduate. He might dispute it a bit, but Jeb, we appreciate the time, and we'll all be watching tomorrow.
God bless. Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck,
you,
Jeb.
sir. We thank Governor Bush for his time tonight, and we'll see if that last-minute campaigning pays off tomorrow night. Speaking of tomorrow night, we hope you'll make time to join us for our coverage of the South Carolina primary. John Bogman and the Newsmax Now crew kick it off at 6:30. I'll be on the anchor desk at 7 to monitor the returns as they come in from the Palmetto State. Again, Newsmax TV coverage of the South Carolina primary tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be right back.